Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a roster showcase video for you guys for 2023. If you guys aren't familiar, at the end of every year I like to take out all my engines from the storage boxes and put them on the layout. And I like to usually record a little video for you guys for in case anyone who's interested in what I have, and also just to give you guys a general update on each and every single engine in case I did any work on it or what the plan is for the future. And I do this kind of video every year because for me it's very useful, just for personal curiosity, comparing with previous years to see, how my roster has changed over the years, seeing if I got any new engines, which engines are no longer here, and, general shifts and trends and whatnot. It's just always cool to see, how my collection has changed over the years. So yeah, so in this video I will basically go through every single engine I own and end up with a few summarizing thoughts at the really end. And yeah, to make this video a little easier to watch, I'm going to try to include timestamps for dividing up each section. So I'll probably start with the Pennsylvania section and then move on to New York Central stuff, and then finally go through the Santa Fe and finally the miscellaneous diesels and electrics at the really end. So if you guys want to skip forward to a specific marker, feel free to do so. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started with the Pennsylvania stuff. Alright, and to start with Pennsylvania items, we basically have everything around here. I'm going to start here and move our way over there and then come back to here. To begin, we have 8 K4s. So on the very left here, these are all post-war K4s. On the left, we have one from MTH, which I had restored and then also painted the cab roof. And then we have 2 BLI Paragon 1 models, which had redone electronics, and one of them, this one has a slate pilot, by the way. This one I also had to do some repairs because it wasn't running when I first got it. And this one was pretty straightforward. This one here is a Bachmann K4, a post-war K4, 1361, a classic. This was actually my very first Pennsylvania engine, what really got me into Pennsylvania railroads. This one's been super detailed. There's been many adjustments, painting, changes and whatnot to make it a lot more prototypical. And I keep it mostly because it's my first ever Pennsylvania engine, and it's very, it gives me a lot of sentimental value. So yeah. Here we have 2 MTH pre-war K4s. The one on the left is a striped version. This one I had to do a bunch of restoration on to get it working, and this one here it's also broken. If you couldn't tell, I tend to buy a lot of broken engines. This one's broken. I haven't gotten a chance to fix it yet, so this one's still waiting in progress. But yeah, here we have a post-war K4 by PFM United. This one has the 13,000 gallon tender with the Trainman440 antenna on top, so that's the reason I like it. It's pretty much stock. I need to do a bunch of detail work and I haven't done that yet. So this is kind of a back burner brass engine project. So I bought it, but I don't plan to work on it anytime soon because I got bigger things to worry about. So yeah. Here we have a Streamline K4. This one is kind of a surprise. It's still supposed to be under wraps, but I figured I'd include it in this video because it is part of my roster now. But it's gonna be a little surprise. So yeah. Here we have 2 Pennsylvania Railroad H10 classes. This one here is from BLI. It's the Paragon 2 run, basically stock. This one's a Sunset one, Sunset third run, with a custom paint job. I custom did the cab roof and tender like always, and also added TCS wow sound along with this here. This is also a Sunset third run. This is an H9 class with the post-war modifications I added to the front. And yeah, this one was factory painted, although I also had to paint the cab roof. And yeah, this is actually probably my favorite Pennsylvania engine out of everything I own. So a little fun fact for you guys. This one here is a work in progress. It is also a Sunset third run H9. I have a lot of these because they're really affordable and much cheaper than Broadway Limited, believe it or not. And this one also is getting the post-war treatment in the front, except this one has a 7,000 gallon tender. This was taken from an MTH loco. So this will be kind of like a nice duo with the other one, both with very different tenders. So yeah. And next up we have 2 BLI I1SAs. This one's a stock Paragon 2 one, and this is a PCM slash Paragon 1, I guess you call it, version, which I had redone the electronics with TCS wow sound. So yeah. Here we have a West Side Pennsylvania K4. This one is a current project of mine. I'm working on trying to get it super detailed. I also had to do a bunch of detail repairs. And yeah, hopefully I'll get this thing painted. If I do get to paint this thing first, this will be my first Pennsylvania engine I'll be painting fully. So that'll be very interesting. But yeah, looking forward to that. And over here we have a Proto 2000 lifelike HH1. These things are really affordable and an excellent value for money for how much detail you get. It's a really nicely running engine. And yeah, I love it. This was my first ever engine I installed. I did a custom ESU sound package on, so that was kind of a test engine for me for a little bit, so it's been very nice. All right, over here we have a BLI Penzi M1B. It's pretty much stock. It was a QSI engine. You can kind of tell it's one of the earlier QSI runs because the green is a little bit too green. It's like a hunter green almost, not like the normal DGLE, which is almost black. So yeah, this is a early Paragon with QSI version. I upgraded the TCS valve sound and also added a few details here and there. This is a pretty much stock PFM United L1 pre-war style. This one still needs some it just needs some detail work, and then the paint and everything else. It's a back burner project. There is a Ken motor in here installed, so yeah. Here's a stock Pro 2000 B28 class USRA 060. Here are two key brass 060s. This is a B6 SB and this is a B6 SA. This one has the modernized cab and this one has the steam blower thing. They're basically a huge pipe that came from the steam dome all the way down and then basically blew onto the tracks. And I believe that was to either blow snow or like leaves and whatnot off the tracks. And this was basically used in the yards. So yeah, very interesting engine. Both of these have TCS valve sound upgrades. Here we have a stock West Side G5. I did upgrade the Ken to a Ken motor, but otherwise it is stock. It's also waiting the detail, paint, DZ upgrade, you know, treatment. So yeah. Over here we have a BLI Paragon 3 L1 post-store style. So that accompanies nicely with my pre-war L1 here. And then here we have two E6s. We have a BLI E6 with the running boards. I had thinned them out, and I also redid the headlight to make it look a lot better. And then here is a Gem E6. This one, Gem E6s have a whole lot of detail inaccuracies, and I've worked with a whole bunch of them, but this one still needs a whole lot more work. Like for example, the sand dome, they use the wrong style. It should look like this, but they put this one on. Also shouldn't have a blow-down muffler, as you can see there, so that should be removed. But anyways, that's a work in progress. That's gonna be a long-term project, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I think it'll be a fun challenge to, you know, get two K4 or two E6s and have me basically upgrade this one a lot to see if I can match the modern stuff. So yeah. Here we have an NJCB C1. This is an 080. It is currently stock, also waiting for all the you know, upgrades. And then here finally is a Sunset A5 class, the Sunset Prestige A5 factory painted, and then I added TCS valve sound and lights too. So yeah, that is everything for Pennsylvania. We will now move on to the New York Central stuff. All right, to start the New York Central stuff off, I have a whole row of Mohawks, or as I like to call it, the Mohawk River. From the really back here, we have a BLI brass hybrid L4B class. This one's more or less stock. It did come with a damaged smoke deflector, which I repaired. This one just needs a decoder upgrade probably because it's QSI, and have the smoke box repainted to a more darker graphite color because this is way too bright. Next up, we have two L3 classes. We have an L3C and an L3B. This is the Alco built L3B style from MTH. This one just needs the, I did some repairs on detail repairs because it came kind of damaged. This one just needs the headlight redone and then the smoke box painted graphite because it's the kind of appearance I like. And here we have a key 1980 run, sorry, L3B, but I'm going to let her in L3C. Because they were actually basically the same engine, more or less. This is the, I believe the Lima built version, or I'm pretty sure it's Lima built version of the L3C. This is the earlier style key run, as I mentioned, with the spaced apart drivers. That looks a little weird, but yeah. This also just needs the normal brass treatment, so yeah. All right, next up we have three L2As. We have this one here, which is an NJCB built L2C class. These are quite rare, and they were the only people to make L2 class Mohawks besides Key. So yeah, it was an affordable option, so I got it. This was a while ago. I did finally this year get to paint it myself. So as I said, painting brass takes a long time, so a lot of them you'll see requires the works. But this one I did get to paint this year, and I think it turned out really, really well. Added an ESU lock sound decoder to it, and yeah, I think it turned out really, really well. Here are two key L2A classes. This is from the 1981 run, and this is from the 1989 run. Has the coasting gearbox. Anyways, This one needs a whole bunch of detail work. The details all came broken apart, and the original owner's paint job is okay, but it's not great. And this, the original owner weathered it to absolute shreds. It looks terrible in my opinion. It obviously needs a repaint. It also needs a few details redone here and there, but I absolutely love this engine, and I know it's been sitting in all the roster videos, and they all look the same. It's always in the same condition, but I promise I will get to this one day. Here we have a stock BLI Dreyfuss Hudson Paragon 2. And over here we have 4 engines. We have 2 BLI J1Ds, both in the Paragon 2 run, one with the BT tender and one with the striping, the early striping. Both of these I upgraded with new headlight bracket, new headlights, because the BLI stock headlights are way too small, as well as some other like paint and detail upgrades, like redoing the smoke boxes with graphite color, painting the cab interior, etc. And then over here we have 2 Proto 2000 080s. This is a U3A class, a stock U3A, basically stock USRA. And then this one is a ex-Boston and Albany U3B with the headlight. I dropped the headlight down, and then I repainted the smoke box into graphite. So this is a custom job I did recently. Actually, if you're curious, I have a video which shows how I did this. So if you guys are at all curious, I think it turned out really well. And now I have 2 engines that are a little bit different, but not too similar. So yeah, as you guys know, I think if you're gonna own 2 of the similar engines, you should always make them a little bit different, such as this, or the 2 different tenders or whatnot. Anyways, I don't believe in owning 2 of the same exact engines. So yeah, I actually have all plans to make each of these K4s a little different. But yeah. All right, next up we have 2 H6A class, which is a USRA Mikado. New York Central famously had a whole lot of those, so I have an MTH one, which is really nice, and then a Trix one, which they actually got the prototype specific piping that New York Central added to all their H6As on their engine, which looks really nice. This one's stock. This one I upgraded the decoder to an ESU V5, so yeah. Here we have a Sunset K5 class. Sunset did a really good job with these engines. They're very affordable, which is really good to see, because usually these things cost a lot more. Yeah, they did mess up a few things, so I'm trying to get a few things correct before, you know, adding sound. I shortened the pilot already. I'm redoing the headlight. As you can see, currently it's missing the headlight. And I might redo the Alesco as well. I don't think they did a great job with it. So anyways, this is a work in progress, but hopefully it should be done soon, and I can add sound and all that stuff. So this will be really exciting. Here we have a West Side de-streamlined J3A, basically an ex-Dreyfuss Hudson that was de-streamlined. As you guys know, all the Dreyfuss Hudsons were eventually de-streamlined. Most of them got the standard Hudson look in front, but 4 of them got the Selkirk style front, which this one represents. People call these Super Hudsons, but really the word Super Hudson implies any single late modernized J3A Hudson, not just the Selkirk style looking front ones. These are they are very unique looking though, and I really wanted to get one of these. This is probably like my second favorite New York Central engine, the first one being the L2A, of course. But yeah, absolutely love this engine. Like, the prototype looks really funky, and I really liked one. So yeah. All right, and then we got 3 more New York Central engines. We got this one here, which is a West Side J1E. These things are really affordable these days because BLI's J1Es really dropped these in price. So I have one. This one, unfortunately, is currently disassembled and sitting in lacquer thinner because I'm stripping the paint. And so it's not on the layout, but I have the box here just to have it represent that it's here. Yeah, and then we have 2 more, which are 2 Alco K3Qs. I do have plans to keep one an as-built K3Q, but then make the other one a modernized late K3P, I believe. So that'll be interesting projects, but yeah, these are still stock right now. But that's pretty much it for New York Central, I believe. So next up, we will move on to the Santa Fe stuff. All right, and now up for Santa Fe. My Santa Fe collection is a little bit smaller than it used to be, so this should be relatively quick. Very first thing is this one. This is an NJCV 1480 class Atlantic Santa Fe. This is actually my favorite Santa Fe engine that they make. It's my first ever brass engine. It was my first Santa Fe steam engine that I ever bought. Absolutely love this guy. I think it looks beautiful, and I just need to get the time to paint it. But this is my favorite Santa Fe engine, believe it or not. None of the big ones, actually. This one's my favorite one, so yeah. And then we have 2 280s. We have a 1900 class built by Sunset, which I had a TCS to, and a Hallmark 2507 class X Kansas City, Mexico, and Orient 280. which I did some restoration on and added a TCS to as well. I actually have a video on the restoration of this guy if you guys are curious. It came with a really damaged frame from shipping. So yeah. Next up we have, let's go for these guys. This is two 3400 class Pacifics. We have one from Balboa, which is currently on my workbench. As you can see, the headlight's missing. I'm trying to redo a few details, including the headlight, the handrails, and some other details. But this one, I'm trying to just get this one ready on the track as soon as possible. So yeah. And then this one here is made by Key. This one represents a later modernized 3400 class with a train control box and a blowdown muffler and a few additional details that Santa Fe added to their engines. So I have a nice combination of the two. They also have different tenders, which is kind of cool. So yeah. Next up, we have in a similar boat as the 3400 class is this guy. This is a 3450 class, which is a Hudson. So Santa Fe basically took the 3400 class and they're like, let's make the firebox a little bigger. So they elongated the firebox and added a 4-wheel trailing truck. They made 10 of these guys, named it the 3450 class, and I believe they're reasonably successful, but you know, they ended up choosing the Mountain class as a successor. But anyways, so they did have 10 of these, and they look kind of cool. So they're really detailed. Key did a really good job with them, so I got one of them. And similarly, another forgotten class is the 3500 class. This was an earlier light Pacific made by the Santa Fe. You can tell they have a rather small boiler, but very cute little engine. And yeah, they're kind of overshadowed by the 3400 class, but they were also nonetheless a light hauler that was used similar to the Atlantics and like light duty branch line trains. And I really like it. And yeah, I'm really glad I got one of those. Work in progress. I did add a Northwest Shortline gearbox. This guy, I did give this guy a cam motor upgrade. I forgot to mention that. And these two are basically stock. So yeah. Next up, we have 3 more or less stock BLI Santa Fe engines. We have a Paragon 4 4000 class, a Paragon 2 3800 class, and a Paragon 2 3751 class modernized. These are all stock. They're basically going to stay stock, except I do plan to upgrade the headlight castings on all 3 of them because BLI gave them really oversized, chunky headlights. Which just don't look right compared to something like that, for example. So that is something in the future I'll probably do, but for now they're going to be stock. Behind it is a 4101 class Berkshire. So similar to the Hudson story, Santa Fe took a Mikado and decided to elongate the firebox and add a 4-wheel trailing truck to the back and see how much better it ran, how much more powerful it was. And that's how this engine was born. They made 15 of these. They're reasonably successful, but they ended up choosing the 210-2 as the better alternative because it pulled a lot more. So yeah, I think it has a cool history of that kind of engine though. So yeah, I have one. They're also really cheap. This was actually my first ever brass engine paint job, full paint job, which is really interesting and kind of exciting and kind of scary. It is a PFM United model with the upgraded CAN motor and TCS valve sound. So I think it turned out really well, but I don't really talk about it much. It was my first paint job though, and I think it turned out pretty good. So yeah. Finally, we have 2 Santa Fe 484 Northerns. Both of these were painted by the original owner, and I haven't had the time to strip them, but the goal is to strip both of them. This one needs a new CAN motor, this one already has a CAN motor, and then give them new paint, some detail modifications, and DCC sound, of course. But for now, they're kind of stock. They don't run on my layout. That's the reason I haven't had much of a priority to work on them yet, but eventually when I have a big layout, I will work on these. But yeah, this is a 3751 class. It's a in-between kind of modernized look. If you guys didn't know, 3751 had 3 major appearances. They had the as-built look, which looked a lot like any of these engines. Then they got modernized with the Let's Go feed water heater on the really top. And then finally they got a second modernization, which made them look like this. So this was from the second-ish run, or second-ish appearance for these engines. And this is a 3776 class, classic 484 Northern. So yeah, that is pretty much it for Santa Fe. I don't think I missed anything else. And so we'll move on to the next section. All right, for the final section, we have some miscellaneous steam, and some diesel electrics. So let's get started. First off, we have 2 nickel plate road Pro 2000 S-Class Berkshires. These Berkshires have a soft spot in my heart. That's the reason I have them. I really like both the Mars Light and the non-Mars Light looks, so I just got 2 of them. They've been in my collection for a while, so yeah. Here's my first ever engine. It's a Bachmann Chattanooga 060. Still kept this guy, but I don't ever run it. Here we have a Rivarossi /AHM B&O C16A. This is an AHM C16. Basically, they look like River Rossies, but they actually have a CAN motor from the factory and they run a whole lot better. And I basically took a second one of these chassis and put it inside a River Rossi C16A. CAN motor, Tsunami sound, keep alive, LED lights, the works on this guy. I actually do have a video on how I did that as well, if you're curious. But yeah, really fun little project. Next up, we have some various engines here. This is all for a far future project, so none of these are going to be worked on anytime soon. But we have a Bachmann 280, Bachmann Decapod, Russian Decapod, a Tenshoto 442, and a Gem E6, Penzi E6. So yeah. All right, finally, we have the diesels and electrics. So while I do model a Santa Fe in the 1940s era decade, I do have a soft spot for the war bonnet, so I do have an ABPA set. So yeah, I just had to get them. They're just so beautiful, and yeah. We have this is from either Genesis AB set, and this is an MTH AB set. Next up, we have a Bachmann Sound Value GG1. I think Bachmann did a fantastic job for how cheap these things are, how affordable they are. They did a really good job on these engines, and so I had to get one. And we also have an Alco P58 Modified, which is basically a mini GG1. They're very cute. I got this one recently, redid some paint work, redid the mechanism. It's got a CAN motor inside, which is really nice, and yeah, really cute little engine, and I had to get it, so yeah. Next up, I have a little fascination with critters. As you can see, I have this guy. So I also have a Roundhouse made EMD Model 40 with a Z-scale decoder inside I managed to cram in there. A Tyco trolley with Bachmann gears and mechanism, and also a stock Bachmann Bernie, which I plan to add sound into one day, but right now it's stock. Finally, I have a soft spot for Amtrak engines. Because my childhood, house was basically sitting right next to the Keystone Corridor, so I'd see those trains run by all day. And so I have a soft spot for these guys. So I have a stock Bachmann AC64 with the wow sound. We have a Kato F40PH and an Atlas AM7. Both of these have custom light packages where basically every single light functions. They also have custom sounds like station announcements, which I added. Both of them have lock sound. So yeah, very exciting stuff. I don't really do diesels, but those are actually really fun to add sound to. It was kind of quite a challenge, and I thought it was really fun. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's every single engine on my entire layout. So let's go to the conclusion. All right, so to conclude, this year has been quite crazy. In total, I have 79 engines on my table currently, including these guys. So 79 engines. Last year, I think I had only 74. But that being said, I did sell off a few, and especially Santa Fe engines. In fact, I've been slowly kind of getting rid of some of my Santa Fe engines to focus more on the East Coast things, especially New York Central stuff. So I have been slowly getting rid of some Santa Fe stuff. But rest assured, though, a lot of these are going to stay. It's just trying to get rid of some things. Just to focus more on one particular region of the US. But yeah, I did get rid of some things, but I ended up still with a net positive of engines, so I bought a whole bunch more engines. And so it'd be cool if you guys are curious to look at the last year's video to see what's changed. If you guys are curious, you could definitely do that. But yeah, crazy year. Lots of things have changed in terms of my roster. The layout has always stayed stagnant, although hopefully it will change more in the future. Now that I'm out of college and I'm officially I'm visiting home way more often now. So that'll be cool. But yeah, roster's definitely changed a lot. I think it's improved a lot. I've done a few more paint jobs for brass engines now that I have more time, which is really nice to see. And yeah, overall, really great year. And yeah, but anyways, that's pretty much the end of the year. I think it's been a pretty big year for the channel. Hopefully in the future, videos will be more regularly uploaded. Yeah, so on that note, I hope everyone enjoys their end of the year holiday celebrations like Christmas. So yeah, enjoy Christmas, enjoy happy holidays, and happy new year, of course. Hopefully 2024 brings a lot more to this channel. We'll see how it goes, but that's pretty much it. I hope everyone enjoys their final few days of the year, and relax, run some trains, have a good time, So anyways, don't take life too seriously. It's always fun. You gotta sit down and just enjoy life sometimes, and run some trains. That's the solution to everything. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, I'll see you guys next year. Take care.